Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So Barcelona did lose against Real Madrid 2-0 at the Santiago Bernabeu. This was a very even game for like the first 80 minutes. It was a hard loss to swallow and we know that we could have done better. And so I want to talk about the lineup first. And if we look at the lineup here, we played in a 4-4-2 formation. And I also want to point out that if you look at the right side and you look at the list of the midfielders that were starting, I accidentally put Rakitic, so ignore that. Instead of Rakitic, just put Arthur in there. So in that midfield, we had Vidal, Arthur, Busquets, and De Jong. And in this game, sometimes we did had Vidal play as a right winger. We also had Jordi Alba surprisingly start in this game. I did talk about this in my last video where I was saying that if Jordi Alba starts, I don't think that would be a good idea because he just came back from injury, but he did start in this game. And I was a little bit scared because I felt like something was going to happen to him. Like he could have gotten hurt, and I was suggesting to put Firpo in, but that didn't happen. They did force him in. And then according to AS, they have said that the doctors have informed Setien that it's possible for Alba to suffer a relapse, but the coach has assumed the risk after talking to the players. So this lineup really reminded me of when Valverde used to be in charge, because if we look at this lineup, everyone was wondering why we had De Jong and Vidal as wingers. We had 4 central midfielders in that midfield. And also, if you guys are wondering why Quique Setien did use this type of lineup, it is because we have to remember that Quique Setien is picking up Ernesto Valverde's mess that he left in FC Barcelona. So in this video, I'm going to separate it into 2 parts. The first half of this video, I'm going to talk about the first half of the game. And in the second half of this video, I'm going to talk about the second half of this game. And these 2 halves really showed us that Barcelona has 2 different types of weaknesses. One half showed us one weakness and the second half showed us another weakness that Barcelona had, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that in this video. So I'm going to start with the first half. In the first half, we created a lot of chances, and if you saw this game, you know that we created a lot of chances. We were building, we were creating, we were building a rhythm in this game. And if we look at the stats here, in the first half, we had 58% possession, total shots 6, shots on target 3, and block shots 2. So we were really like up there creating those chances, taking shots. We even had one big chance when Jordi Alba did receive the ball on that left side and then tried to center it to Griezmann, but then Griezmann blew it and shot that ball over the goal. So I believe the main problem that we had in this first half was the quality of our chances, not the quantity, because we did have a lot of chances, but the quality of it was not good enough, meaning that we took way too long to create those chances, because when we did have to attack, we were moving extremely slow going forward. We basically had to like tiki-taka our way into the box. And the reason why we were acting like that, the reason why we were playing in that way, why we were so slow in transition, it is because we don't have a real winger. And if we look at the lineup again, we have to remember that our wingers in this game was De Jong and Arturo Vidal. 2 things were wrong with that. It is that they are not wingers and they were playing out of position, because we know that De Jong and Vidal are not the fastest players in the world. So we were not going to go anywhere with that. And throughout that first half, I was really thinking like, man, do we really miss Dembele? Because this could have been a moment where Dembele could have proven why we spent $110 million on him. And we needed a player who can receive the ball and explode in those spaces, but he was not there. And we had no player that played in that way. And that is why we suffered going forward. Like Liverpool, they have Mane, they have Salah. And then if we talk about Manchester City, they have Sterling. And then if we talk about Real Madrid, they have Vinicius. So you see how every top European level team has that player who knows how to explode in those spaces and really know how to get into that box as fast as possible. In that first half, when we went on break, there was people saying that the solution can be that Jordi Alba or Semedo can fill in that role and act like those wingers. But the problem with that is that if, for example, if Jordi Alba goes up and acts like a winger and starts building with Lionel Messi, you then create a problem, because once Jordi Alba is all the way up there, the player that he does leave behind is Valverde. And Valverde, we all know how quick he is. So for whatever reason, we do lose the ball up there while while we are creating, Valverde could receive that ball and then explode in that space that Jordi Alba left behind. So it was very dangerous to do that. And then same goes for Semedo. If Semedo went up there and tried to create with Lionel Messi, then he will leave a lot of space for Vinicius. And we all know how quick Vinicius is and how fast he can get the ball and go into the box and score on us. We have seen that throughout the first half for like the full 45 minutes. And so I believe that Semedo and Jordi Alba knew that. They knew that Real Madrid had fast wingers, so they became very reserved. They were very cautious and they said, okay, we're not going to go all the way up there as much because we need to stay back here and make sure that Valverde and Vinicius do not get the ball and run into the box because we know how fast they are. So Semedo and Jordi Alba had two choices, and that is you either go and attack and build with Griezmann and Messi but increase the chances of getting scored on, or you stay back and defend very well but you're decreasing the chances of scoring your goals. So it was either one of those two, and to me it looked like Jordi Alba and Semedo decided to stay back most of the time and take care of Vinicius and Valverde. And then we had Quique Setién say some words about the first half post-match, and this is what he said: the most frustrating thing is having chances and not taking them. In the first half we did well. So now I want to move on to the second half, and this is where everything fell apart. I'm going to talk about the goals first. And so we did have Vinicius score that first goal on the 71st minute. We can see here that Toni Kroos has the ball, he has possession, and then this is where I see the mistake. Then we had Toni Kroos had the ball, then he sent that ball between Semedo and Braithwaite, and then Vinicius got the ball, and then this is where the problem was. This is where Braithwaite had to close that gap. I believe that was his problem. It was his responsibility to close that gap and make sure that Toni Kroos does not pass that ball through Vinicius. But since he's new, I'm going to give him a pass because this is his second game playing for FC Barcelona, and in that second game it so happens to be El Clásico. And so it was very unfortunate to see Braithwaite make that mistake, but things like this do happen. And so then Vinicius had the ball, he has possession, he takes it into the box, and then he scores. And then now moving on to the second goal, on the 91st minute they threw the ball in, Morano gets the ball, he gets possession, and then Umtiti does a horrible job man marking. Then we can see him running into the box again, similar to what Vinicius did, and then he scores that goal. And the reason why we let it all go was because we did not take our chances. Real Madrid understood that we started to become less confident in that second half, and Real Madrid did punish us for that, and the defense did not react well to that high press from Madrid. Was it the defense fault? I'm going to say no, it was not the defense fault, because this could have never happened if FC Barcelona took those chances. Then if we look at this stat here, according to the Spanish Football Podcast, they said that this is the first time that Barcelona have failed to score in a league visit to the Bernabeu since 2006. So even though we did lose and we did not take advantage of our chances, I do want to point out two players that really stood out in this game, and that is Marc-Andre ter Stegen. He did have two huge saves. One was against Isco and the other one was against Sergio Ramos. Another player I want to point out that really stood out in this match was Nelson Semedo, because in the first half he was really keeping up with Vinicius. He was really locking him down, and without Semedo, I believe that if he was not there, Vinicius would have scored like about 2 goals in the first half, and we would have been like 2 goals down before entering in that second half. Final conclusion: this was a hard loss to swallow. It's very frustrating because we worked very hard for those chances, but I know the players felt like they could have done a lot better when given those opportunities, and I believe they could have done better. I think the main problem for FC Barcelona at the moment is that the attack needs to be addressed, because I know a lot of people talk about that we need to spend our money and time on getting a better defense, but I believe that our main problem is the attacking side. And I know that we bought Coutinho and Griezmann and Dembele and none of that worked, but I believe that we are finally starting to see a clearer picture on what we actually need and the type of players that we need to bring into the club. We are missing that piece of the puzzle, and I believe that if we do not have that area fixed, we are not going to go anywhere this season, because we can only do so much with our thin squad. So this is not the end of the world, because if we look at the league table, we are only 1 point behind Real Madrid. They have 56 points, we have 55, so there's still a lot of games left to play, but I feel like we could have been in a better position if we took those chances. We could have had a 5-point lead, but it didn't happen. So it is what it is. And I'm a little bummed out. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my energy is very low because, again, if we were to just take those chances and really put those goals in, we would have been in a much better position. But again, it is what it is, and we have to move forward from this loss. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what was the problems that you saw in this match that we could have done better at, and what are the things that you did like in this match that FC Barcelona did. Again, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.